When you shake history, sometimes you find a relative you just did not want to see, but then sometimes you find something that instills pride. There's colonial history here, there's Civil War history, there's post Civil War, there's the Reformation, there's every kind of history here. That's Hampton. My entire life has been wrapped around learning and understanding the history of Virginia from start to finish. The first documented Africans in Virginia arrived here in August 1619 on the White Lion, an English privateer based in the Netherlands. Colonial officials traded food for these 20 and odd Africans who had been captured from a Portuguese slave ship. Point Comfort to us was the lookout point that the English had on the mouth of the James River to make sure that no enemy ships were coming in vis-a-vis the Spanish.
So my understanding of how the emancipation went was just, it was an order that went out, and of course people were dispersed to go put that information out there. But I did not know that they were actually sending it in locations, especially in Virginia. I just thought this was widely known news, like you had a town crier or something, like, so to speak.
Here, under an oak tree, newly freed African American students listened in January 1863 as the Emancipation Proclamation was read aloud. Union General Benjamin Butler's decision at Fort Monroe in 1861 anticipated that day, enabling hundreds of enslaved African Americans to reach freedom in the Union lines.
You're torn, so to speak, because humans should have already been free. It's an emotional response, so to speak, where you're mad and you're happy at the same time. We're going to have a long way to go for a long period of time. And the reason I'm kind of seeing that is we also have to remember that our Bill of Rights, our Constitution itself, wasn't designed for any of the other people that it now entails to kind of protect. So when they created that, even with the Emancipation Proclamation, you still don't have the exact same rights. You're still trying to fight for the equality in the country because the country's not based around the equality of women and others. These people weren't even thought about in that process. They weren't consulted or anything like that.
The fact that the racism that my parents saw is the racism that I'm seeing, and my kids I'm trying to keep from being exposed to still exists. Maybe not quite in the same intensity, but definitely letting you know that it's there is horrifying. It's horrifying. If we had stuck with being a scientific country, which is what I grew up in, I'm a space-age baby. If I were to look out of our front window, I would see Langley Air Force Base. Langley Air Force Base was created in the early 1900s as Langley Airfield. Basically, it was a test field for flying in aeronautics. Attached to Langley Field is what used to be NACA, which is now NASA Langley. The original Mercury 7 came, they flew into Patrick Henry Field. They had meetings at the Chamberlain Hotel, which still stands. Lovely. We continued to be a part of the space program from start to finish, and we still are now. I know many of you have seen the movie Hidden Figures. When John Glenn did not trust any of the other engineers about his trajectory and what was happening. What John Glenn said of Katherine Johnson to check the numbers, if she says they're good, then I'm ready to go. He didn't care who she was. He didn't care where she came from. He didn't care about her skin color. What he knew was she was damn good. Katherine Johnson lived around the street from me in Aberdeen Gardens. I didn't know. 4 blocks. I had no idea she was there. Had no idea what her status was or what she had done. This woman lived quietly. We didn't know about her until more things started coming out. When John Glenn got on the space shuttle, it came up, but they didn't say what she looked like and who she was. Then there was all these NASA documentaries that came out, and yes, I watched them all, leave me alone, where a little bit more was coming out. And that's when you found out, maybe when I was in my 30s, that Katherine Johnson was Black.
So yes, we're gonna always have a long way to go, but it's 50, 100, 1,000 times better than it was than around these times. And I'm never going to be upset at that, but I'm also gonna understand that there's things we still have to do, things we still need to strive to do. And we're getting there. It just takes time, and I understand.